The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Every day, citizens around the country are faced with new dilemmas. Dilemmas that affect them profoundly. Whether it's injustice, discrimination, falling through the cracks, scandals and cronyism, balances of power, ethics, religious freedoms, state versus citizens, and unfunded mandates, and the list goes on and on and on. Welcome to Speak Up. It's directed at those who have fallen through the cracks, and it gives them a voice. It's your turn to speak up. To stand up and fight back.
Welcome to another episode of Speak Up. Again, we're going to be talking about the New Hampshire family courts. You know, on many of the shows that we've had, we've showed where it's either just men or just women. Today we have a couple of guests from both sides, and what we want to do is just tell a brief summary of their story. Keep in mind, when children are separated from one parent, it has been linked by one of our other guests who is a professional police officer who did research in this, that 70% of the violent crimes that happened in America across the country is the direct result of a child being separated from one of their parents. Parental alienation. We've had counselors on this show talking about how that it's an industry. There's Joe Sorg with Divorce Corp, who shows that it's an industry. Something has to be done here in New Hampshire. The victims are coming out more and more and more. What is happening with our judicial system that they feel so necessary to take a child and keep it from a loving parent? If that parent has not been adjudicated as unfit, and that is a bar that is set by the Supreme Court, you have to find that parent and adjudicate them unfit to take a child away from their life. But this seems to be a routine with our New Hampshire family courts, and something has to be done. Today I want to welcome Thomas and Donna. Thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Ladies first.
You got it.
Donna, it's the first time I've ever met you.
Yes.
I've not communicated with you on any level. So welcome to the show. You've seen the show before.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen the show?
No.
Okay. But somebody referred you to the show.
Yes.
Now, can you give us a brief summary of what is going on with your situation? Do you have children?
Yes, I have three, two older ones. My daughter's a nurse. My son works for his father's business. And then I had a child at 36, which I planned, Juliana.
Mm-hmm.
I came here from Vermont. My sister wanted me closer to the family, which I haven't seen in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I came here and I tried to get, because like medical assistance, and I couldn't for my medication.
Mm-hmm.
So this is in June, October, I called my sister. I said, Sandy, can you take Juliana for a week so I can go into the hospital and get my medicine? Mm-hmm. She said, sure, why not? She took my daughter right over to her house and called DCYF. And the nightmare began.
Why?
She's just evil. I think for the money. I think she did it for the money.
How would she benefit financially from this?
Because I was getting really good child support at the time. Her father's a correctional officer in St. Johnsbury, Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting very good child support, plus money from the state and, you know, just a lot of money from her father, besides the child support.
Right.
Anything
So that would
else.
go to her instead of you.
Oh, yeah. And I was still getting child support, but her father's not supposed to see her. At 13 months old, he got convicted for sexually abusing my daughter. And no visitation rights, and New Hampshire lets him visit my daughter till this day. I went into court, fought 8 months. I had to go to parenting classes, therapy. I never missed therapy, parenting classes.
Why are you ordered? What crime did you commit?
No crime.
Why are you ordered for the parenting class?
Because they said, DCYF said I had to take them.
And what finding did DCYF have?
I don't know, nothing. That
Yeah.
I wasn't on my medication.
And what was your, all right, I'm not going to ask you what your medication was, but are you still on medication?
Yes.
Is this something that you have to have
It's
for the
been,
rest?
I've been on it since I was like 21. But
Okay.
this is another one I've been on since, for 12 years.
All right, so these are doctor prescribed?
Yes.
They're not opiates or
No,
anything?
no, no,
Or
no,
hallucinogenics or
no,
anything like that?
no.
And
Drug tested for 8 months.
Yeah.
Negative. They thought I was like bringing someone else's pee. I had to go pee in front of a nurse. Of course, that was negative. I couldn't
Do
even.
you have a criminal history?
No, none whatsoever. Driving after suspension. But that's, you know what I mean?
You've had it suspended?
Yeah.
Okay,
But I got my license back.
okay. So, and have you seen your daughter?
I haven't seen my daughter.
How long?
It's been today's her birthday. Last birthday, I brought her over gift certificates, and I can hear my sister. She went inside the other room and she said, "If you come here over again, I'll call the cops on you."
So, is there a court order that you cannot see your
No,
daughter?
there's not.
Did your sister adopt your daughter?
No, I never gave up my parental rights or anything. The district attorney said Ms. Dionne has done everything we've asked her to do, but we still don't want her to have her daughter.
Are you gainfully employed?
I've been on Social Security since I was 21.
Okay. So, and you're not able to communicate with your daughter?
And my other daughter, who's a nurse, was living with me at the time also. They stopped her from visiting my daughter too. And she's done nothing wrong.
When you say they, who's they?
DCYF.
Who at DCYF is ordering?
Laura Wilmot.
I'm sure your daughter wants to see you.
Yeah, last time, Tony's been with me the whole thing. She saw me through the window. She came running. She says, "Mommy, Auntie won't let me call you." And then she witnessed during the trial that my sister had slapped her husband in the face. And I told Laura Wilmot from DCYF, and she said the judge already knows.
So there's domestic violence in the home, and the child's witnessing this,
Yep.
and yet they won't. Do you have any history of domestic violence?
No, none whatsoever. I raised her on my own until she was 12, until I moved to Plastow. Yeah. And now my brother said the son, I guess he's been on heroin for a while, that my daughter's there. The cops were called. He beat up his father because he wouldn't give him drug money. And my daughter's in that home. And then the lawyer that I had towards the end called me and said my sister tested positive for marijuana.
So, again, there's drugs in the home, and your daughter, is your daughter going to school?
Yes.
Are you able to follow up with her with her school at all? Go visit? I don't understand why they're not letting you see your daughter or be part of her life.
I don't understand it, why. I don't understand.
There's not a
either.
court order or.
No.
I'm going to just move to Thomas real quick. Okay, Thomas, I recognize your face.
Yeah.
You remember when we had Josh Youssef on and
Josh Yusoff,
David
Dave
Vandenberg,
Vandenberg,
Doris,
Doris,
uh,
Kim and Samantha
Dot-
Haas,
Dorothy,
Kim
yeah,
Rice,
yeah.
who actually became a state rep because of her situation and stuff. But same thing, I'm in the family court.
Jared Stevens. There's a number.
Oh,
of them.
I know them all, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, women like yourself who,
You can't
great
afford the
parents.
proper legal representation.
it's just, it's a business. It's not justice. It's not nothing. It's just a business. Back in 2009, I got a call from the police saying there was a restraining order taken out on me, and that was it. I never saw my house again and anything. I had my business out of my house and everything. So I went to court with the restraining order and had a hearing.
Mhm.
Told the judge, never harm my family or anything. My wife testified under direct questioning from her lawyer to describe to the judge the violence she suffered by me. She didn't answer. She got asked again. This is her own lawyer. She said she was trying to remember violence that she suffered at me. I mean, she couldn't come up with anything. And I said, I didn't ever harm my family. I love my wife. I love my daughter.
There was an incident with a 911 call, is that correct?
Yeah, we
Set
came
the
home
stage
from,
for that and we'll listen to it.
like I said, in 9/11/2009, my wife and my mother-in-law went to the police department the day after supposedly I attacked them.
Mhm.
Okay? Nothing yet. 2 days went by. Saturday, went to a birthday party. We came back. There was a couple of bags in the hallway. I asked my wife, "What's this?" She goes, "Oh, me and Kaylee are going to my mother's." Okay. Now, my dogs aren't in the house. My dogs are always in the house. I said, "Where's the dogs?" She picked up the phone, called 911, said she's having a domestic issue. Now, I'd like you to hear the 911 call.
All right, let's take a listen to that right now.
Emergency dispatch?
Hi there, is this the Danville Police Department?
We dispatch Danville's calls. Can I help you?
Yes, my name is Christine McCarthy. I live at 61 Fry Road,
Okay.
Danville, New Hampshire.
Yep.
I'm having a domestic issue, and my husband is not allowing me to leave with my child.
Okay. Are you at 382-0730?
I am.
Okay. Hold on one second.
So we don't have to use the lights and sirens. He hasn't done anything more than just tell me he's not going to allow us to leave.
Okay. Okay. And so what's your husband's name, first of all?
Thomas McCarthy.
Okay. And your first name is Christine? Okay. What's your date of birth, Christine?
2765.
What's his date of birth?
9/21/59.
59, like 5'9", or?
Yes.
Okay. All right. How many kids are there?
One daughter, 6 years old.
Okay. And you with your daughter right now?
I am at the base of the stairs, and she's up in her room
Okay. And where's your husband?
in loading room.
Okay. Did no assaults, right? No, you said he didn't do anything.
No.
Yeah, obviously there are no restraining orders in effect.
No, not at this time.
Yeah, hold on one second. Okay, let's see, no ROs in effect. Any dogs there that could be aggressive when the officer gets there?
Not at this time.
Any firearms in the residence?
Not that I know of.
No, okay. And he doesn't have any knives on him or anything, right?
Not that I know of.
And neither do you?
Right.
So basically you're just looking for the police escort to be able to leave the residence with your daughter?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
But I don't know if it will escalate. You told
Yep.
me I would
No,
have
I
to have a
understand.
police
And you're not
escort.
looking to file charges? Or are you?
Not at this time.
Okay. Does your husband know that you called the police? I know you said he's right there, but...
That I was going to do this
Okay.
if he didn't let us leave.
All right, so
So
that's interesting.
the 911 call was made, said that he didn't need the lights or sirens. He hasn't done anything. It was all premeditated, orchestrated by a family lawyer that she had hired before she went to the police, before, in domestic, if the house is on fire next door, you call the fire department. You don't wait a day. You don't, and this is exactly what happened. It was planned. She didn't want to be with me anymore. That's fine. That's okay. If she wanted a divorce, all we had to do was sign the papers. And I had no idea what I'm in store for.
And so in this whole process, in this setup process, that puts you on the defensive, and now you have to prove yourself a fit parent to at least see your child.
Right.
And when was the last time you saw your daughter?
I saw my daughter Kaylee for 5 minutes 2 days before Christmas this year. And that was the first time in 2 years.
How old is she?
She's 12 now. She was 6 at the time. Now, they have therapists come in and talk to the child in a GAL, which is a lawyer that acts in the best interest of the child. No, they're not. I can just say, not in my case anyway.
Who is your GAL?
Originally was Mike Alfano. He happened to work in the same office as my wife's attorney.
No connection, huh?
No connection. So anyway.
Now, did you bring that up to the court?
Yes, it kind of hit me at the end of the hearing that the address on the GAL and the address on my wife's attorney, I didn't make, wait a minute, they both, in another hearing later when I filed an ex parte motion to see my kid and said, there's at least a conflict of interest here because the GAL, he wants 3 people to talk to from my side to see what kind of a parent I was.
Did you see the report from the GAL?
You're supposed to see it 30 days prior for the hearing. I seen it 30 seconds prior to the hearing on March 17th in 2000.
At least 10 days minimum, but 30 days.
30 days, but it was handed to me moments before we went on.
I'm going to interrupt you. How much did you pay for the guardian ad litem?
This actually, he was paid through the state because at the time I couldn't afford it and my wife said she couldn't afford it.
Do you know what that bill came up to?
Oh, I think he was up in the $5,000 range that he got from the state.
How long was he on the case?
He withdrew immediately as soon as that hearing was over because in his report it said none of the people, my 3 people, contacted him. Now at that hearing I had showed up with 33 people where the judge, the marital master at the time, Thomas Cooper, said he's never had this many people at a hearing for this. Now these people were there to act as supervisors. They were my family and friends who know me and know my daughter. That day, I got a letter from my wife's attorney, right, that no one was acceptable to my ex-wife, and I have to go to a visitation center to see my daughter, okay?
Out of all those 30 people?
Out of all, and I told the judge, are you telling me 3 people didn't call them, but 30 came to this hearing today?
Have you committed a crime?
No, sir.
Have you ever been convicted of a misdemeanor?
No, sir.
Or anything?
Nope.
And and somehow, over a 2-year period, the courts have withheld your daughter from being part of your life, or you part of her life?
This is 7 years now, Kevin. This is coming, in September, will be 7 years that I haven't seen my daughter with any kind of normalcy whatsoever.
Who's the judge now?
Well,
It's
there's 7 different judges that signed off on different things. The state mandate in family court is 1 judge, 1 case, and 1 year.
And guardian ad litem is supposed to be $1,000.
Right, tops. I've had 7 different judges, 2 different GALs, 2 different marital masters, 7 different attorneys, wellness checks.
My gosh, you must be a horrible person.
I certainly am, you know. I can tell you that I'm no better or any worse than anybody on this planet, but no one loves or protects or cares for my Kaylee more than I do.
Right.
And this is just an absolute nightmare for women. Look at the pain.
I know.
It's just pain, and it's all to keep lawyers employed, Title IV money, and everybody steps up to the plate to get their truck. And you've got restraining orders, divorce papers, child. When I went to the visitation center, and I refused to go, but it was the only way I could see my daughter. And I didn't want to put her through that, but I got selfish because I didn't see her, and it was tearing me apart every day. So we went to the visitation center. My daughter saw me, ran into my arms, and jumped into my arms. Now, any news station, you've seen where the guys and men and women come home from the service and surprise their children, and they're same exact thing. Only in my case, I was now charged with sexual molestation because my daughter sat in my lap for the entire visit.
And she was 6 years old at the time.
When she was 6 years old at the time. Now, I can't tell you how a
While
little
there are
girl
people-
has to go through all the wellness checks.
While there are people in the room with you.
Yeah, they were sitting.
Supervised
The,
visit.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
the
And
reason was she sat on my
what
lap,
was the finding?
unfounded.
By who?
Dr. Wendy Gladstone, who's the one person in this state that always finds something because they were hired through her attorney, because this is the doctor that will find something.
A
Forensic
professional-
psychiatrist, Dr. Eric Mott, twice.
But she found no evidence.
Absolutely no evidence. Everything came back unfounded. And what was our reward for my daughter and myself? We get to go back to the visitation center after another 8 months of not seeing her. I have 2 counts of contempt over the last 3 years, pro se, because I can't afford an attorney, to have my daughter be able to see me. The first contempt charge, yep, and they kept it at 6 hours a week. Now, we're 3 years behind the parenting plan. I get a whopping 4 days a month with my child. That's 3 years, should have been enacted 3 years ago. But accusation after accusation
Put you on the
after
defensive.
accusation, and you don't have the money, Kevin,
Right.
you don't get justice.
They whittle you down.
So,
And
I
so, and what-
could take everything, but I can't take what my daughter has had to go through.
Right.
And parent alienation, like you talked about, it's at the point now where my daughter doesn't want anything to do with me. She doesn't, she's afraid of me. She's, according to everybody but her, and I can tell you we had the greatest relationship because I'm grandparent age to have my kid. I didn't want to have kids when I was younger, just for this kind of fact. I've seen how families can break up and everything, and I didn't want to put a child through that. I experienced it myself.
Me too. I have 2 granddaughters, and I'm going through this.
And I became a big brother for 5 years to try and help a couple of kids out who don't have a father,
they
because
let
I know
you
what it's like.
did they screen you to become a big brother?
Oh, Kevin, I can't tell you what you have. Criminal background checks, drug tests, everything. I mean, I can understand why they do it.
I was.
Yeah.
And I went through it, and
Yeah.
I did it, and they said I'd make a great candidate. I know what it's like. to
But the
be-
courts can't seem to find you to have time with your own daughter. May I
That's
ask,
what's
are you
really-
paying child support?
Oh, of course. I even had to pay in arrearages because I was accused of not paying. Before the court set this up, I was sending money because I know my child and my ex need money, but mostly for my kid. And I sent it to her, sent it to her, sent it to her. They didn't think I kept the records, but I did in my little shoebox that I lived, had no place to live for years. And, it was kind of hard, but I had that. And I ended up having to pay in the arrears. And then when I produced all the records that I had paid, oh, okay. Nothing. You've paid it. There's nothing that we can do.
And you pay double because
So I paid double and collect. I don't care about that. I don't care about the money. I don't care about my home. I don't care about everything I ever personally owned, worked for, and I don't care. You can have it, keep it, be there. Just let me be a dad to my child. That's all.
I appreciate you both coming on the show. I'm going to close out the show real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, you keep hearing this over and over again. You might get sick of it, but there are more and more victims. And you wonder why I voted against the death penalty, because these are the same people in charge of this. I'm telling you right now, I do not trust the system that cannot function properly. These children's justice for these children is being denied because they're being denied a loving parent. This cannot keep continuing. Our society is going through an opiate crisis right now. And I wonder how many of these victims of the family courts are part of this opiate crisis. You know, there is a survey that says about 70% of violent crimes are due to parental alienation across this country. Are they linked? Are they linked? This has to stop. This has been going on for too long. It's time for more people to raise their voice and say enough is enough. Governor Hassan, why don't you do something about this? Why don't you step up to the plate and get a grip on this problem? And to the courts, it's time for you to rein it in. These kids are not a moneymaker. You have to stop. You've got to start listening to the people because it's not just the adults that are being wounded here. It's the kids. And they have to carry these wounds. If you have a situation like this or any other situation that you would like to share on the show, Speak Up, please contact me at speakupnh@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your story, and hopefully we'll help you be heard. And until next week, thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching Speak Up, and we want to thank our sponsor, Avard, the Dean of Clean, the carpet cleaner in the Nashua area. If you want to contact them, call 603-521-7657. Thanks for watching.
Every day, citizens around the country are faced with new dilemmas. Dilemmas that affect them profoundly. Whether it's injustice, discrimination, falling through the cracks, scandals and cronyism, balances of power, ethics, religious freedoms, state versus citizens, and unfunded mandates, and the list goes on and on and on. Welcome to Speak Up. It's directed at those who have fallen through the cracks, and it gives them a voice. It's your turn to speak up, to stand up and fight back.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.